I thought that he was in the safest possible hands with the RAF. The RAF are here to defend this country, and I would expect that the Ministry of Defence would provide worthy aircraft. And I never thought for a second that my son was in any danger that week.
The RAF's investigation into the Wessex crash took 2 years. It concluded that the immediate cause was the failure of the tail rotor drive shaft.
Room, with Lord Justice Belden attempting to negotiate with the woman and to calm her down.
When she was pointing the gun right at his head, he said, "Look, justice can't be dispensed at the barrel of a gun. Please put the gun down." And he was getting through to her.
Mr. Diamond's tutor, Barrister David Etherington, had been sitting outside, unaware of the courtroom siege.
The first I knew of any difficulty was my opponent coming out of the court, who's Queen's Counsel, saying there's a woman in there who's just threatened to shoot me, and I thought it was a joke when he came out.
The woman, who's in her 20s, escaped through a door leading to the judge's anteroom. A massive police search covering 19 miles of corridor and more than 100 courts ended after 4.5 hours with no trace of the woman. Amanda Harper, Newsroom South East at the High Court.
6 months after the spectacular flooding which brought devastation to parts of Kent, local people say they've been let down over the clear-up operation. Homes and businesses around Folkestone are still suffering the effects of flood damage despite the promise of government support.
80-year-old Betty Small was one of many rescued. 6 months on, her house in Folkestone is a shell. Betty's son Ian blames unfeeling insurance companies.
I'm angry at the insurance, I'm angry at those in power who won't accept the responsibility for their own lack of doing a job. They just won't do a damn thing.
During the floods, the Dunkirk spirit was alive and well. But now many residents have moved away, tired of fighting insurance claims and living on a building site. Kate Stevens, Newsroom South East, Folkestone.
Finally, if you sigh at the thought of cleaning the kitchen floor, spare a thought for the team who've been given the task of cleaning the biggest and oldest surviving medieval floor in Europe. The delicate work at Westminster Abbey is being carried out with cotton wool buds and will take months to complete. Possibly even years. That's it from us this evening. Join us again tomorrow morning with more bulletins in Business Breakfast.
Good evening to you. Well, the winds are now beginning to ease down, but still plenty of blustery showers across the north and west of Scotland, feeding into Northern Ireland too. The odd crack of thunder has been reported off the Hebrides recently, and many of those showers have got some hail and sleet mixed in them. Clearly, the more extensive rain is down off the southwest there, and the reason for that weather system moving in from the southwest, that'll be hovering through the English Channel for much of St Valentine's Day, so not too pleasant at all down in that part of the world. You can see on the regional radar how the rain's become more extensive across the tip of Cornwall during the past couple of hours. Some pretty wet weather to come then across Cornwall into Devon, perhaps Dorset, as we go through tonight. So down there, no problems with temperatures, but elsewhere, under clearer skies and lighter winds, there could well be a touch of frost about in many places come the end of the night. Well, there's that system moving around in the English Channel for much of the day on Friday. The rain band probably extending a little bit further south again as we go through the second half of the afternoon, so I think many places in the mainland at least will become drier, and still plenty of showers to come across northern and western Scotland through the day too. So for the Channel, a really miserable day. It's going to be about 8 degrees down there in Jersey, but rain on and off throughout the day and very misty conditions, hardly any change at all during daylight hours. Going further north, plenty of sunshine about, but again those wintry showers across the north and west of Scotland, a few into Northern Ireland through the Irish Sea. I think later in the day some heavier storms perhaps running into the Hebrides. It'll probably be after dark before they arrive. And temperatures about 7 or 8, the low to mid 40s Fahrenheit. Nice ridge of high pressure coming through on Saturday. A chilly start, there'll be some frost about, but then a good deal of sunshine to come during Saturday, and temperatures again around about 6 or 7 degrees. But late in the day, probably just about after dark, we'll find some rain moving in towards Northern Ireland. That rain spilling across the country as that weather system winds itself up during Sunday. Plenty of isobars, there'll be gales or even severe gale force winds spreading across the country during the second half of the weekend. And for a time, it looks like we will see some blizzards on the higher ground, say from North Wales northwards up through Northern England and into Scotland. Clearer showery weather following later on. Bye-bye.
You gotta be fortunate.
She's a woman in demand because she sees.
You better notify the police.
And because she asks.
Why did he disappear?
when others won't.
I have to work with him too.
Or can't.
The evidence has to stand up.
Do you doubt my word?
She's a woman in demand.
How do you find a man who puts up with your job?
What's going on?
But there is one night of the week when she's free. Amanda Burton.
This is what just happened to his brain, Superintendent.
Friday nights, a new series of Silent Witness, beginning tomorrow at 9:30 on BBC One.
I'll be with you after the X-Files. And remember, if there are any bald men watching, the Toop is out there.
And before that, on BBC One, a grotesque case for Mulder and Scully.